We are live. I figure as long as I start it that way, but I don't sing more of the song, then I never end up like running into copyright issues, right? Because like fair use and all that. Well, I'm not sure where the other two ladies are right now. Hopefully they'll be here soon. I am working on a little cowl. Not going to be super interesting to see the progress that I make. This is the first one that I made for my 14-year-old niece, and then I'm working on one for my 5-year-old niece, her little sister, because they love each other so much and they're so sweet together. And I wanted to make a little um, matching cowl and boot cup set for each of them so they can match each other. Um, but I'm going to have they're going to be two buttons here, and they're going to be buttons on the sides of the boot cuff. But until I have the buttons, which I haven't even gotten yet, I'm really just going to be crocheting long strips like this. So it might not be the most interesting thing to see. But in the meantime, I am working on some new batches of coffee soap, which is the one that I was waiting to sell enough of to make my next batches before I got started putting embeds on the tops of that. So this is my coffee bean embeds, 30 of them in here, because I'm going to make some. I was hoping to make some today, but the day has not worked out that way. So it's going to be first thing tomorrow morning so that they can start curing right away. If you haven't seen, and I did share this on Facebook, so you might have seen this already. I have some items in a local shop downtown of the next town over from me. Um, so I'm really excited about that. I'm excited to be getting my stuff in other places where other people can see them. And in retrospect, taking these coffee bean soap embeds out of the mold right now might not have been the most brilliant idea because now I've got soap all over my fingers. And I was planning on going back to crocheting after. Well, hopefully the other two will get here soon. Um, I've been doing a lot of crocheting lately. Well, in addition to making soap, of course. But I've been doing a lot more crocheting because I'm trying to crochet most of the Christmas gifts that I'm doing this year. So I think I will be doing a couple of them in, or at least one in resin, maybe a couple. I'm not sure yet. Um, yep. I was thinking about trying to give some soap, but it gets complicated because, technically it's not my personal funds that I buy the soap and supplies with, it's the company funds. And then I have to pay the company back. I have to pay myself out of it and then pay back into the company. And um, we're still small enough that that's not always as obvious and clear cut as it should be. So kind of easier to just not right now. Um, so what do you do when you have soap covered hands, but you're in the middle of a live stream and the sink is out there? That's what paper towels are for, right? Going to first I know you guys really need me like talking you through how I clean my hands, right? Just kind of biding my time while I await Lisa and Karen. Hopefully they'll be here soon. I did check with them and they both said they were coming. I really wanted to work on my boots more. I still can't find the other boot, the one that I was missing last time. Trying to get some things organized in here, but it has not worked yet. Although, usually I try to keep. Oh, there's Lisa.
Hi. I tried to text you that I was running late for personal reasons. Um, but I'm here.
I've just been sitting here telling the internet about whatever random things came to mind while I waited. Uh,
Sorry, it was really important. I had to deal with
I believe
something.
you. No worries.
Oh, should be here soon.
I'm I just unmolded some soap coffee beans that are gonna go on top of
Ooh,
my coffee soap.
nice.
And then I was like, wait, this might not have been the smartest idea while I'm sitting here about to work on crocheting. Now my fingers are all soapy because when you unmold them, they're
Right.
really soft soap, Um, so I'm like dripping my water bottle on paper towel to get the soap off. Um, you're supposed to wear gloves for that, um,
Yeah.
because that's why this thumb is all wonky because I keep touching the soap before it's gotten past 48 hours of being cured. Uh,
Yeah.
but um, the coffee beans, I mean, it's just such a tiny mold. I can't get them out if I'm wearing gloves. Like the extra that the gloves stick out over my hands, and they're small gloves. I clearly need to get extra small. Um, the extra amount that sticks out over my fingers is bigger than those coffee beans. So I already told the internet, but I'm working on making a matching cowl and boot cuff set for each of my two of my nieces. Um, they're the their sister is a 14-year-old and 5-year-old, and they love each other so much. So I thought they would enjoy having a matching cowl and boot cuff set. So there are going to be two buttons right here. Um,
Nice. I like that.
and now I'm about to start on the one for the 5-year-old, but um, that means that ultimately I will pretty much just be crocheting strips. Will not be a lot of great, interesting stuff to see by the end of the session.
This came in today.
I love it.
Yeah. The earrings I got in honor of my mother. So, it's got like all the chakras and everything. Um, and they're dragonflies, which is very my mother. So, um, yeah, excuse me. I got the hiccups. I think I ate my dinner too fast.
I got hiccups after my first couple bites of dinner and had to get my son to run and refill my water bottle for me because as I went to take a drink, I discovered that, oh wait, I had just emptied it and forgot.
Yeah. Oh, jeez, excuse me. All right.
So what are you
So I don't
working
know
on?
where Karen is, but we should probably get started without her.
What are you working on?
I am working on these loom knit shawls that I've been doing, and they're all done for the most part. except for I get to add all the tassels, and this is my last one, and this is as far as I've gotten. I still got all of this to go.
Pretty though.
So yes, they're all different colors, but basically I made three different ones with four different colors, and so I alternated them, and then the tassels are all four colors. So
Gotcha.
yeah, that way none of them are the same, but they're all similar.
I like that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, Joe's Boys chapters 3 and 4.
Yeah. Lot to unpack there.
We
Um,
were wrong about having Thanksgiving in these chapters, like we were hoping.
we were hoping, but it looks like they skipped ahead again, I
I'm
feel
not
like.
sure if they skipped ahead or if it hasn't gotten to Thanksgiving yet. Because they were waiting for everybody to come. And they
True,
had
maybe.
said that they knew that Dan was coming. But I don't know if he got there before or after Thanksgiving. Hi, Karen.
Hi, sorry I'm late. We made it. Barely. It's all right, I was late too. It's fine.
Um, yeah, so because they've been talking in the first couple chapters about everybody coming home and that Dan was going to be coming. But I don't remember if they said something about him coming like before or after the Thanksgiving they were planning or if they knew. And so I'm not sure if they skipped Thanksgiving or if he came before Thanksgiving. We still haven't actually had Thanksgiving yet.
That's a good question.
I do think in chapter 3, I'm like 99 point completely percent positive that Louisa May Alcott was drawing from her own experiences with the public.
100%. Yeah, like definitely.
Like there are things that I've read or learned about her. That's not one that I've expressly heard. Oh yeah, she did this and this. It's just reading it. I was like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I mean, I think
And
she
how do
added
you feel about
the
this, Louisa
Joe
May
spin
Alcott?
on that. Yeah.
What?
I think she added the Joe spin by preferring boys over girls and
Yeah.
stuff like
And
that. But
and Joe climbing out the window. I don't know. Maybe she would have done that too.
in desperate times, call for desperate measures. Okay. uh, so that explains the question that yes,
She is still a writer.
she's still a writer and she's become quite famous. Uh,
My inclination is still that she dislikes him going into journalism because of the reputation of journalists specifically, not because of the writing.
yeah, I don't think she would ever discourage anyone from being a writer in general. Uh, ugh.
Would it be weird to ask my brother to measure the length of my niece's neck?
It would
He
be
already
hard to
measured
bring up
around their neck,
casually.
but I'm like, this one's for 14-year-old, right? So it'll go around like this, nice, cute little cowl that will sit a little bit better on her because her neck's a little bit skinnier than mine. Um, this one for the 5-year-old, that much shorter.
Hmm,
Is that enough shorter for her 5-year-old?
I think so.
Well, here's hoping. Hey, Karen, what are you working on tonight?
Just a spare bracelet I've had on my desk for months. Okay.
She picked up a project.
I saw something today that was like, calling my projects whips is really a bad name for them because it implies that work on them is in progress and really they're just sitting there. And then somebody else gave an abbreviation that was the abbreviation for works that sit in the attic. And then somebody else gave an abbreviation for works that haunt me from under the floorboards. And then somebody was like the telltale whip.
I like that. Because honestly, these shawls that I'm working on, I
Mhm.
started them 2 years ago. Okay.
That sounds right.
Besides the fact that my life has been chaos for 2 years, um, you know,
Yeah,
it's been I had to find them in my room because
right.
they got lost like everything else in my room, as everything's been going on. But I found them and I'm like, these were originally Christmas presents, so you know what? They're gonna be Christmas presents just 2 years later.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
I like it. Anyway,
Mm.
so the actual chapter three, we've referenced things from it, but um I was intrigued for what Joe's last scrape would be, and I was anticipating like, oh, Joe's um goes off on some wild adventure one last time or something, but her last scrape is achieving her childhood dream of becoming a famous writer and discovering that she does not like being famous.
Pretty much. It's not what she thought it would be.
And I mean, like I said, I was reading the stuff going like, yeah, this is Louise May Alcott talking about stuff that's happened to her. I have no doubt about it. But I was also just like, I've never wanted to be famous. I don't want to be famous. I don't want, like, I want to build community and like that's why I do things like BookCraft because I want to build community for people to be able to come together. But I don't want to be famous. And it's really, really hard to figure out how to do both of the things.
Right?
Although I'm doing a really good job of not being famous right now.
No am I. Fine.
So, yeah, it was basically she said this happened, she said this happened, she said this happened. Well, let's just give you one day in her life to show you.
So,
And
question. I did have a question because of the way she was talking about Marmee. And that's why I thought another year gap happened. It almost sounded like Marmee passed away. And it's not like I'm trying to kill Marmee off.
Marmee,
Marmee
yes,
was
we knew
not
that
a
at the
bad.
beginning of the book.
Okay. Oh, she did pass away. Okay.
Yes,
You're right.
We
It's
talked,
Mr. March that's still alive.
right.
That's who I
yeah,
keep trying to
The
kill
one
off.
that you keep trying to kill off.
Because again, I thought he was dead. I'm not kidding
I
you.
I usually keep the door to my workshop closed if I'm not busy walking through it. Um, but I occasionally leave it open and a little bit more in the winter because it gets really cold in here if I don't leave the door open for a while, and then I'm not going to want to sit in here for BookCraft. But because I had left the door open, my cat decided he needed to come lay in here instead of out in the dining room. And I forgot that he was over there. And he just sat up and started cleaning himself and then rearranging himself and laying back down. And I was just like, what is happening?
What is that?
Like, oh, right. It's the kitty.
It's the cat.
Anyway, so she she has a day to focus on some writing. And um Professor Bear leaves to professorifies. That's a word, right? And um Rob leaves for school and for college. Um, and she bids them goodbye and goes to work on writing, and they promptly have a reporter coming up who definitely seems like the sort of irritating, pushy kind of journalist that I think is why Joe doesn't like journalists. And um they they she and Teddy basically decide that she's going to try to run upstairs before the man gets there, and Teddy's going to try to head him off. There isn't quite enough time, so she kind of has to go hide while Teddy tries to more or less force him back out of the house. And even so, he's still trying to get one piece of information or another from Teddy about her. And the second he's walking away, mother and her daughters are coming up, and then I I loved the colloquial spellings of how the mother was talking. Like Holmes and Longfellow. And I was like, Longfellow. And there were a few other things. First with a U instead of an I. She's a first-rate writer. And it like definitely got in my brain how this woman was talking. Um, but then as they're like begging to see her and they'll stay and they'll whatever, and then they see her portrait, which was a badly done portrait. So that did not help matters as far as them seeing her as she was, but um for her portrait, they um when they saw the portrait hanging in the hall, um they were all disappointed that she wasn't grander than that, I guess.
One girl
Yeah.
thought she was a teenager, so
Well,
that's a
yeah,
little
but then
weird.
it was the 12-year-old who was like, I thought she'd be 16 with long braids down her back. She doesn't look like how we pictured her. And so they got he finally got rid of them just in time for another woman to come up. And then that one managed to catch Joe and insist on shaking her hand. And they finally got things clear for a little bit, and Joe escaped upstairs to work on some writing. Um,
Then there was a crazy lady who wanted to catch crickets and wanted
yep,
an
I just
article
realized I
published.
skipped all of the letters that came first.
Yeah.
And they're all the crazy letters. Everybody wants her autograph, and that's one thing, but then like somebody that she hadn't sent an autograph to sent a curse on her house practically. I've been watching I just finished rewatching Golden Girls, and then The Golden Palace. So I have Sophia Petrillo in my brain, like, may your socks always slide down in your shoes. Um, and then um Joe's Joe's a little bit frustrated with all of it because she has a kind and loving heart, especially toward children, and she wants to do stuff for the children, but also she's only one person and she can only do so much and she can't respond to all of them. And it's a lot. So, um, yeah, so anyway, on that day she escapes upstairs um and then when Rob comes home from school, he says that the I want to say YMCA, but it wasn't an A at the end. I think it was like the name that the YMCA used to have before um like YMC something else. Um but um he told her that they were going to come and they should um they might not come because it's going to rain. Oh, Union. It's Young Men's Christian Union. Um and so that they wanted to visit visit the college, and two or three of the fellows whom she knew wanted to pay their respects on to her on the way. But it's raining, so they probably wouldn't come. And 75 came. And because Joe loves the boys a lot more than the girls, um, she because boys don't gush, so I can stand it. Um, she has them put a tub out for them to all put their umbrellas in, and they put something else out for all of their hats because there won't be space on the hat rack. And they have all 75 just tromping around the downstairs, enough so that when they actually leave, they take a shovel to shove all the mud back out of the house. That part really made me laugh. Um, she says it so nonchalantly.
Right?
Um, and so she signs a ridiculous amount of autographs, and when they finally leave, she's basically like, okay, I am going to write, not seeing anyone else. And then and that's when there's the Mary comes in, talking, right? Mary, that's her name, right? Yeah, Mary
That's the maid, yeah.
comes in like, there's this weird lady that wants to know if she can catch a grasshopper because she says she's got grasshoppers from the gardens of a bunch of famous people, and she wants one from Plumfield. And Joe's just like, she can take all the grasshoppers as far as I'm concerned. And then she's like, she also wants to make a rug with something that you've worn, and she's making a rug out of um clothes from all these different famous people, and she's got, it goes like Hemingway's vest. Oh, no, Emerson. Is a vest from Emerson, and a pair of Mr. Holmes trousers, and a dress of Mrs. Stowe's. And Joe's like, well, I think that everybody who insists on coming and trying to meet me are lunatics, but at least this one is harmless and isn't taking my time and gives me a good laugh. And then she finally has no more interruptions for a little while. And then Mary comes back up and says there's a gentleman who wishes to see her and will not take no for an answer. And Joe's like, well, he's gonna take no for an answer because I'm not going down. And um, so she says, tell him to go away. I won't go down. And Mary goes, and Joe can hear them talking, and then she hears a cry from Mary, which we never find out why that was that she cried out. But because Joe's concerned about um the way that some reporters can be and not wanting Mary to be mistreated, she goes down. Who is this person who insists on remaining when I have declined to see him? And Mary's going, I don't know, he won't give his name. Which initially I was like, oh, she probably cried out because she found out who it was, because I had accidentally glanced to the end and seen who it was. Because I don't read things in straight order because ADHD brain. Um, but I was like, oh, she probably cried out because of that. But then she's like, I don't know, he won't give his name. And I was like, so what made her cry out? But anyway, because I know he didn't do anything to her. But she's like, I don't know,
Maybe
he
he took a step forward in the door or something, or pushed the door open or something.
maybe. And so she's like, he says he'll be sorry if you don't see him. And then he steps up and he's like, won't you be sorry? And it's Dan. And forget having that last half hour to write. Joe's just going to talk to Dan now.
A couple of things that I found intriguing in that chapter that you didn't cover
Okay.
was the reporter at the beginning. So he's trying to find all this information, whatever he can, about Joe. So then he's like, please, anything, her name, where does she, how old is she? Like, where did she grow up? How many kids does she have?
Oh, I read that. I remember that part.
I
So
wasn't
it
sure
says,
where you were going with that at first because I was like, I mentioned the reporter.
yeah, I just thought it was funny because he's like, she's
I'm trying to.
60, she's from,
She's 60. She's from this area. She got married 40 years ago. She has 11 daughters. And I was
like, she hasn't been married for 40 years.
she had two
40
sons.
years this day.
There it is. It was where he said she was born that I couldn't remember, so I was looking for it.
Yeah,
She
I
says,
couldn't
male
remember that either.
60, born in Nova Zembla, married just 40 years ago today, and has 11 daughters. Anything else, sir?
None of that is true.
Yeah, and the woman from Oshkosh, Kentucky? Is that where that is?
Yeah,
From Oshkosh somewhere.
yeah.
And and um she's like, if you come and visit us there, then your feet will never touch the ground because everybody will carry you because we all love you so much. And Joe's just internally going, never going there.
I'm never going to. The second thing that I liked was that I was intrigued about was her goal was to write 30 chapters a day. Okay?
I couldn't
Her
do it.
goal. I'm like, I don't know any writer that can write 30 chapters a day.
Give me a month, at least.
Maybe if they're short chapters.
Maybe if they're short stories,
My
because
my
she does write
10-year-old
series,
my
but
10-year-old
still,
was reading a graphic novel the other day. He turned to a page and it just had like the chapter number at the top and then a picture, and then you turn and it's the next chapter. Maybe it was those chapters she was writing.
right? Like short story, like quick.
Or like, I don't know what the book was. My father told me that the shortest chapter he ever read in a book was one chapter ended with she vowed she would never forget. And then the next chapter says she forgot, and that's the whole chapter. She forgot.
Hmm.
I feel like the author was trying to meet a deadline there.
I think it was for a comedic punch more than anything else. Um anyway, so chapter 4, Dan. Somebody want to talk about that? Because full disclosure, I read like 2/3 of it and skimmed the end.
Look at me. I passed
Ran
out
out of
reading it
time.
on the couch.
Oh. So, Dan comes in and tells about his adventures in San Francisco. Um, and I think not Mr. March, Mr. Bear came home. And, when they were talking with him about, what he wants to do with his life, how he had, a small fortune. He had some good luck with a deal, and he had some money, and how he was, he didn't want to settle down because he wasn't he was too wild to be in one place. But Joe kept telling him that it would be nice if he found a girl because it makes the trips away shorter and someone to come home to. A reason to go home. And then he's can't remember why he walked away, but he goes and he finds uh Beth. Beth.
No, they
Um,
come to him, I think.
huh? She
I
saw
thought
him
they
in the
came to him.
doorway. Maybe that's what it was, is he looked and he saw her in the doorway. And she's just this beautiful picture of elegance the way she is. um,
And he doesn't recognize her for a second.
it took him a minute, because it's been 2 years, but he still calls her princess, which we all know was her nickname.
Y-
um,
You know what's funny that I kept doing in these chapters is but especially in this chapter, I would read something and I kind of like picture them as adults, and then I read a sentence and suddenly like picture them as children again, and then back to adults. And I was like, it'd be kind of fun to make an adaptation of this that did that, like throughout. They're just seeing their childhood selves and then
yeah.
like the people that they grew into.
And Josie, if I'm correct, is Demi and Daisy's
Younger sister.
youngest
Yeah.
sister, right? Their young sister.
Yep.
Um, who is about the same age as Beth, I think.
I
Maybe a
think
little
Betty's
I think
younger.
she's like
younger.
a year younger or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think she's
about a
like
year.
a little younger. Um, but um, anyway, so Josie runs up when she sees him and forgets that she's a teenager. Just like he picks her up in his arms and gives her a big hug, and it's a big reunion, and they're talking about Danville, which is the world that the town that wants to create, where he'll have farmland and adventures and um, a theater where Beth can do plays and have Josie act. And then I think it's Nan and Tommy show up, and they're talking about how there'll be need for doctors because there will be cowboys and accidents and everything's going to be wild because Dan can't stand to settle. So there will always be adventure in Danville. And he just keeps finding a way as people come in to add them to his land. Then the Lawrences show up with Meg and her family, and they all move outside because it's just way too many people for for the house. And Mr. Lawrence offers to hold on to Dan's money so that he doesn't give it to the first poor person who asks, so that he invests it properly. And Dan willingly hands the money over and says, I will let you know, but if I do not come for it, then you will spend my money on those who need it, or something like that, I think he said. And then we get some foreshadow that nobody knew how true how close that was to coming true and stuff like that. And I'm like, the book's giving us hints.
Yep.
And of course, Teddy was really happy to see Dan, of course, because of course he's still enamored with Dan. um, and I can't after everything starts dying down, he's outside, and Joe is waiting for that moment where she can talk to him like she used to and give him some advice or scolding or taming that he needs in her motherly way that she does. And she finds out that he wants to smoke. And she's like, he, that he wants a smoke because he does smoke. And she's like, yes, you can. Um, but don't try to burn the house down again or something like that. And he kind of sees her disappointment, but he still gives her a kiss goodnight, which is so sweet because, she raised him and was the mother he didn't have. Um, and yeah, am I missing anything?
I don't think so. I have to say though, you're talking about Danville, and it got me thinking. I don't know, I didn't think of it while I was reading it, but like hearing you say it out loud, I was like, wait, isn't there like a Danville, Ohio or something? So
Oh,
I initially just Googled Danville and found Danville in a few different states. So then I Googled how many states have a Danville. Want to take a guess?
7.
4.
Lisa was closer if you add 10 more, 17.
17.
Alabama, Arkansas, California, Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Missouri, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Washington, and West Virginia are the ones listed here, which are by my count only 15, but it says there are 17. So I don't know which two aren't listed there. But um I mean, it's fully possible that one of these is Dan's town. He wanted
Very
to go west
possible.
to start it, so I'm gonna say um California, maybe Iowa or Indiana. Ohio doesn't feel far enough west for like the Wild West.
Maybe West Virginia. I know that's not actually West, but
Well, I feel like that was more settled by like late 1800s. Like maybe early 1800s it would be, but late 1800s like this I feel like would be
Missouri, maybe?
maybe
I don't know.
Kansas,
Maybe
Kentucky.
California, because he was in San Francisco. He liked
That
San
was the first one
Francisco.
I said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I'm just processing.
Yeah. I mean, Washington. I don't know. It's funny to me. Okay. So like everybody when we were growing up, everybody played Oregon Trail, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There was this game at my library that I've found very few people who know this game, but it was very similar to Oregon Trail, but it was the Yukon Trail, and it was traveling from the northern United States through, well, a little bit more like northwestern through Canada and up to Alaska for gold mining in the Yukon. And um every time that I see stuff about people going west for gold mining and things like that, prospecting, even though it's not um in the Yukon, that the 49ers weren't going to the Yukon, they were going to California. Um but it still always makes me think of that. So I just kept picturing different things from that game while reading about Dan prospecting. Oh, this is also later than the 49ers because, the first book was 1860-ish. So that put, I mean, or started 1860-ish,
Hmm.
which would put the second book like 1880-ish, right? Does that sound right?
I think
Which would put
mid
this book like
70s. Yeah.
1890-ish. So, into my steampunky love. I want to see. Here are some facts about the Danvilles. Danville,
Mhm.
Virginia, located in south central Virginia, the city is known for its historical landmarks, recreational opportunities, and rolling countryside. Danville, California, home to some of the country's most exclusive country clubs. Danville, California is also known for having one of the most expensive zip codes in the United States. Now, I'm not saying that it couldn't have become that, but that does not sound like what Dan would have been founding.
No, because he didn't care about the money. He wasn't like overexcited about his wealth with his good deal. Like he's like, I'd rather earn it as I go. I don't need to sit on money.
And Joe's going
Um,
like, well, you need to like save some because you're gonna have some rough times too. And he's like, I don't want it. Ah, don't let it touch me. Wealth. Ah. Danville, Kansas. This Danville has the smallest population of the Danvilles with only 38 residents. It also has the smallest total area, covering only 0.09 square miles.
so it's like a couple houses, really.
Yeah. Danville, Vermont. This Danville covers 61.1 square miles, making it one of the largest Danvilles by total area, which is a little bit ironic when you consider the size of Vermont versus the size of Kansas. Kansas has the smallest and Vermont has the largest. Danville, New Hampshire. This was the first Danville to be incorporated in 1760. So that one definitely wasn't his Danville because, he wasn't alive
Yeah.
for another decade. I mean, decade, century. Century is what I meant to say. Danville, Pennsylvania, named by William Montgomery, a Revolutionary War veteran, in honor of his son Daniel. I scrolled down a little bit further
Yeah.
and saw there are places named Danville located in blah 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 from the Phineas and Ferb wiki.
Yes. Phineas and
That's why
Ferb
the
live
name
in
sounded
Danville.
that's why
Yes.
the name sounded familiar. I knew there was
Yes.
a reason.
The tri-state area. Sorry.
It's in the
Platypus.
tri-state area.
Harry
Yes.
the platypus?
We don't hang around. I was gonna say we don't hang around kids, but we all grew up watching that show. Come on now.
I didn't.
No?
I was, because, you know, now, I'm what, 4 years, 3.5 years older than you guys.
Yeah, I think
It's
roughly.
not significant at this age, but at, say, 12 and 15 or 16, it's a lot more significant. And I was in high school when that show was coming out and really did not grow up watching it.
I
My
told
brother
her to
did,
watch it
and I
until
would see
after I
my brother
graduated
watching it
high
and roll his
school.
eyes at it. Now I've watched a bunch of the episodes of it with my kids, but I did introduce my kids to it because as an adult, I came to appreciate it more.
I didn't watch Steven Universe until my husband's cousin, who's 9 years younger than me, made me start watching it when I was living in New York, roughly 8 years ago.
I forgot my measuring tape out in the other room, so I'm just crocheting however long this goes, and then I'm probably gonna end up having to pull some of it out.
Sounds
Yeah.
fair. I finally hit the middle of the shawl, so yay.
Why'd you hit it?
I don't know, I felt like it.
It's not the shawl's fault that it's the last one.
I can always make more. I have the ring right here. Oh, another thing that I'm really excited about craft-wise that is shop related. This weekend. Oh, there goes that. Now, before
Ooh.
this, I had I think it's a 22 and the 40. This is the biggest they have at 48. So now I can make scarves, I can make kids' hats, and I can make adult hats now. And I'm so excited.
Yay! Nice.
Oof. I'm knocking these over.
Ooh, I am sleepy.
It
Same.
is one of those days. I think
Yeah.
it's all the winter weather.
It's so pretty.
Oh, yes.
That
I
had me
woke up.
Very
energized
pretty.
earlier in the day. I was like running around like, it's snowing.
But it's so
I woke up
cold,
around
and I don't like
1:30
the cold.
and I was like, blasphemy, it's snowing. Because, I only slept a couple hours and I was like, I don't want snow. So, that's probably
I
one of the reasons I'm so tired. I slept like 4 hours today.
I didn't sleep well either.
I don't love that it was a wintry mix instead of just proper snow,
But it was just
but
slushy stuff. It was gross
I didn't have to be out
driving.
in it, so I could look out my window and pretend it was just snow.
Me and Lisa both had to drive in it. It was not fun.
Yeah, I'm really glad I didn't have to be out in it. My car's having enough issues without doing that.
I actually saw one of the roads I normally take home was relatively close to work, but it was blocked off by an ambulance and a cop car.
Ooh,
And I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but I think someone forgot how to drive in the snow.
seems likely.
So
Although
I took a couple extra side roads to get home. I'm like, toot toot toot.
that's not super uncommon in this state for being a
Or
state
for the
that
first
has so
storm.
much snow. The amount of people that forget how to drive in it is a little bit
It's
absurd.
always that first couple of storms where people are like, wait, how do I do this? Carefully. That's how you do it.
Look, it's
Carefully.
sparkly.
Ooh, it's a gray sparkle. I like that.
I was I have to get buttons for them still. I'm trying to decide if I should do just like a classy looking button or if I should do like fun, bright colors against the gray.
Hmm. That is a good question. Because you can do subtle, so that it's just a nice compliment. The buttons would make it definitely, if you did vibrant colors or something, bright colors, it would make it stand out, but it would
I
make
have
it
to do
harder
them
to
in their
match
favorite
outfits.
colors.
Yeah. Their favorite colors would be good. I like that.
Have to find out what those are. They have a tendency to change. My
Yeah.
my eldest has the same favorite color since he was 4.
I've gone through a few
I
favorite colors
probably have.
myself.
I think
I think I've had the same favorite color since I was 4.
I think he is the only member of my family that has one consistent favorite color, other than my sister. And it's the same favorite color, and it's my least favorite color. Them and their love of pink. Blech.
I do love pink.
I know you do. So apparently, it's people who like pink who have the same favorite color from when they're little.
Apparently. Because mine was
We like the pink. We stay
yellow
true
and
to
then
the pink.
purple, and now it's blue. Went from yellow to purple to blue.
My niece, who's 12, has gone from green to pink to currently tied between purple and black.
My 10-year-old went from every color in the rainbow except for white
I agree.
to going, wait, white's
Although,
not in the rainbow, every color except for white, to going, actually, I like black and red best, to going, actually, it's kind of mostly red. When I was little, we had a tendency, um, my one sister in particular, who has the one same favorite color forever, um, would go in hard on my favorite color being green. And I do like green, but it was like I wasn't allowed to like other colors because this one is your favorite. So everything you get must be in this color, including like Jolly Ranchers. Like, no, I should have the pink one and you should have the green one. Well, I'm not eating it for the color. I want the watermelon flavor. And so eventually, um, I started just, nope, I don't have a favorite color. I like many different colors. I mostly like blues and greens and purples, but I like a lot of different colors. And then I started like looking at different color combinations that I like. There are a lot of specific color combinations that I like. But I finally realized that mostly it's just that I like earth tones and jewel tones. Like, even if I have something that's pink, like of the earth tones, a dusky or dusty pink is still like my least favorite of them, but I like it better than other shades of pink. And of the jewel tones, a like deep, rich pink, still my least favorite of the jewel tones, but I like it better than other shades of pink. I just like earth tones and
But
jewel tones.
thank you for not judging me from pink being my favorite color.
Why am I gonna judge you? People can like what they like as long as they're not trying to force me to like it.
Honestly, I'm like pretty simple. Like my colors really like sum up my personality pretty well, and that's
Right,
pink
Yeah,
and
exactly.
glitter.
you
Um,
can't go wrong with pink with Lisa. You
can't
can't.
you
The world
can't.
needs more sparkle in it.
However, I think all pink. Like if I don't wear all pink, I can't do that. I have to have other colors mixed in.
Yeah.
Black goes with pink very nicely. Other
No
colors do
monochrome.
too.
No
No
monochromatic.
mono.
It has to be multicolored.
Yes.
Three
I
of the 5 years that I was in college, three of them, and my college, you didn't keep the same dorm room from one year to the next. Got assigned a new dorm room, new new roommates, and you were usually still in the same building, but not always. And my building had it alternated like a sort of sea green blue, a like robin's egg blue, and one that we had arguments amongst many of us whether it was technically Canada mint pink or Pepto-Bismol pink.
my walls are Pepto-Bismol pink, if you can't tell. Uh,
See, it was slightly different shade than that, but like only barely. Just a little bit
I
closer to
didn't
Canada
mean
mint in my opinion, but um
I didn't
that's
mean to,
that's
but like when it was drying, it looked like Pepto-Bismol. It was
nine
bad.
floors. 9 floors that of this dorm building that alternated one shade of blue, a different shade of blue, pink. One shade of blue, a different shade of blue, pink. That's a 2/3 chance of getting on one of the blue floors. And I, the despiser of pink, spent 3 of my 5 years there on pink floors. I was like, somebody up in student life making these decisions really has it out for me or something. Anyway, we should get going.
Yeah.
Our next session will be in December, guys. In fact,
Yeah.
it'll
Yeah.
be in the second week of December. It's December 10th. This does not sound real.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't. This year has flown.
So much.
And the one after that will be Christmas Eve.
Oh my gosh. I think we're not doing it on Christmas Eve.
No,
Right.
I've got too much to do to have a book club on Christmas Eve. Sorry,
I
guys.
Right.
I have a service at my church on Christmas Eve. I will be
Probably
there.
not gonna.
So our next session will be the last one of 2024.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we will be reading chapters 5 and 6 of Joe's Boys.
And I will be able to stay awake a little bit better.
Maybe.
She'll be off overnights, so
Yeah, I'm going back on evening shifts as soon as December starts. So
That's
here's
good.
hoping.
That's good. Well, in the meantime, I usually say everybody say bye, but everybody say happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.